Et le slide, s'il vous plaît. C'est vrai, ça marche.
Je vais demander à Insomnium, ils sont sponsors de Hyvolution.
Thank you. So, welcome everybody to this tonight afternoon meeting. We are going to try to share with you about some topics related to the cost and the way to fund hydrogen project, which is one of the key questions of the moment. And one of the axes of our thinking is how we can use traceability and certification to optimize the fact that the offtake agreement is well executed regarding the willingness and the criteria defined by the buyers. To do this, we are welcoming two companies this afternoon. Bureau Veritas, who is represented by Laurence Boisrame, and I will leave her the floor for her to present Bureau Veritas and the activity in the hydrogen ecosystem. And Sylvain Cariou from Chrystalchain, Chrystalchain being a blockchain-focused company which is working with large groups and sovereigns to enhance the traceability process of some production. Laurence, if you like to start.
Thank you, Germain. Hello, everybody. So my name is Laurence Boisrame. I am a Global Sales Director for Hydrogen for Bureau Veritas. Bureau Veritas is a global leader in what we call testing, inspection, and certification. We provide assurance quality, technical, and regulatory advisory. And we are also a leader in certification, and especially in certification of equipment, but also certification of assets. And this is what we are defining or exploring today. Thank you.
Thank you, Florence. Sylvain?
Yes. My name is Sylvain Cariou. You have my name here on the slide. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Chrystalchain, which is a company that implements traceability solutions using the blockchain technology. We work for many sectors: energy, luxury, food, circular economy, raw materials, etc. And we also chair the blockchain commission at AFNOR, because ISO, the international organization, work very much on this technology to deliver some standards on that.
Thank you, Sylvain. Can you please illustrate with one or two cases?
Yes, of course.
The way we can use traceability?
Yes. Traceability is used for many different reasons, depending on what's at stake. The traceability is collecting data all along the supply chain, from raw materials to final product, data about production, about certificates, about quality controls, etc. And what do we do with this data? We ensure that the product or the semi-finished product are compliant, for example. Traceability help brands to protect themselves from counterfeiting, for example. And I have two examples which are very different from H2, hydrogen, but very interesting. For example, we do traceability for wool. Wool is a commodity, so the competition is very hard. And for one of our clients, we have implemented traceability of ethic wool. So being ethic is not only saying, hello, I'm ethic, it's also proving that. That's what we do. And thanks to that, our client was able to increase the price of its wool from 5 to 10%, which is a lot, given the competition in that sector. So in that case, traceability is for improving the price of the product. And we have another example. We work for Suez, the French company, on traceability of wastewater treatment, water treatment. And this traceability was made in order to prove to the local community, to the government, that the water treatment was compliant with the regulation. So it was to reinforce the quality of the relation between Suez and its clients.
Thank you very much, Sylvain. So we see that by using traceability associated with blockchain, that we can enhance the profile of a client, of a stakeholder, who is using that tool to demonstrate that he is fully complying with the standard normative regulation. And this is the same roughly in the H2 industry. And maybe, Laurence, you can give us a few words about the way that Bureau Veritas is trying and offering a certification way using traceability to enhance the quality of the data being associated with the H2 production.
Thank you, Germain. Maybe what I can say is that Bureau Veritas is a very global company. We are present in 140 countries with more than 80,000 people. And with that, we can see, and we are present since, I would say, decades in energy industry, especially oil and gas industry. And what we can see today is that in many countries, developers of hydrogen projects are looking for testing conformity of their project with dedicated regulation, and especially to be able to value environmental attributes of their project. So what we can see today is that major part of the project, especially the large-scale project, are in development phase. We are in the study phase, where developers need to prove bankability, credibility, and bankability of the project to attract funding. And at the same time, investors, financiers need a reassurance, I would say, to select the project in which to invest. And for that, we can consider today that there is a lack, especially the lack because there is no global standard. There is no common definition of how renewable hydrogen needs to be produced. So there is this lack that I would say imply a delay in investment decisions and in the ramp-up of the hydrogen production. And it is really what we hear every day from our customers in many countries. That's why we have decided to develop a certification scheme. So it's a voluntary certification scheme developed by Bureau Veritas that that set criteria. So we have defined a global methodology that will apply exactly the same in every country that sets some criteria. And in this criteria, we have considered that carbon footprint is, of course, a key criteria, but it cannot be the only one. And we also have, in fact, we have 3 pillars: safety criteria, sustainability through ESG criteria. We also consider water footprint, water consumption, and other impact on the environment through a life cycle assessment methodology. And on top of that, of course, we verify that hydrogen is produced through renewable energy and with an overall carbon footprint of less than 2 kilograms of CO2 equivalent per kilogram of hydrogen. So this is, I would say, the methodology relying on these 3 criteria: safety, sustainability, and renewable input. And what we propose is a certification, I would say, in 3 steps. First step is to be able to certify at design stage. So where we are today, major part of the project are at design stage. We deliver a certificate according to what is in the design, meaning it's more, of course, it's remote, it's based on documents, but it evaluates the criteria. And then when the project is built and in operation, we deliver the certification of the project as built, and we verify on site that the criteria are met as in the methodology. And this certification is valid for 3 years. We have an annual periodical surveillance each year to maintain the certification. it works, I would say, exactly as in the certification of management system, for instance, where certification are valid for 3 years. And once the project is certified and in operation, we also deliver the label. So certification is associated to the production asset, and the label is associated with the hydrogen that is produced, meaning the product. And this label is, I would say, the first step before the traceability.
Thank you very much, Laurence. So to sum up, Bureau Veritas is offering to enhance some project risk profile by certification from the design step, the fact that the project is fully compliant with the regulation we know and the way the project is going to be developed. How do you bridge this with the fact that we have traceability as well, who can maintain, who help to maintain this certification process, which is going to bridge the asset between us, between them in a certain way? Can you elaborate a bit, maybe Sylvain?
Actually, what's needed from the off-takers and the users of hydrogen is having information on what kind of hydrogen they buy, what are its characteristics in terms of footprint, what was the source of energy, etc. So they want to have information about the certificate, what are the entities that were involved in the process, the characteristic of these certificates, but also they want to have what I would call dynamic data. This molecule of hydrogen, where does it come from, when it was produced, even if you have some mix at some time, but they want above certification, which I call static data. They want to have information on the actual flows of energy, hydrogen, etc. So in the solution we implement, we have these two kinds of data, static data and dynamic data, thanks to which we can control what's happening actually on real time on the whole supply chain.
Thank you, Sylvain. So, as maybe people in the room might ask themselves, so we are in a very early stage of our project. We are developing the project. We are investing. We are giving some awareness to raise funds, both equity and debt. Is that traceability certification process is going to be implemented at that stage, or do we have to wait the fact that the project is starting to be developed? Laurence, please.
Maybe as an answer, I would say that, of course, traceability will be really operational once the projects are in production, because it's traceability of hydrogen molecules that need to be produced, to be traced. But at the same time, it needs to be anticipated, meaning that at design stage, a project can anticipate the way that of course, it will be compliant with a certain regulation, but the way that it will prove the environmental attributes of the hydrogen toward the end market, and including having in mind how this end market and customer will want to receive this information. So my answer would be, yes, of course, traceability will be needed when hydrogen will be produced, but it needs to be anticipated.
Thank you, Laurence. Sylvain, and then we have question maybe.
So in some cases, I implement traceability solution on existing supply chains. So I collect data that are already available or not. So I do my best with what's available. In the case of a hydrogen project, if the project is not up and running, it's a good thing to think before what kind of data do we need to reassure the investors and also the off-takers, and to be sure that we will collect all this data to reassure them beforehand.
Thank you, Sylvain. Any question?
Thank you. I'm Lénaïque from the SNCF, French Railway Company. And I was wondering if, as you saw, we have many pipeline projects, meaning blending of different type of hydrogen. And what do you have any input on the regulation and the traceability we could imagine for this market?
So this is maybe a good question for Sylvain from the AFNOR, but I see that Laurence is willing to answer. So, Laurence.
We will answer, both of us will answer. It's, for me, there is no regulation today with that. In general, we lack regulation in hydrogen, but it's specifically for this kind of blending. We'll blend different molecules with different values. So today there is no regulation for that. And there is no regulation for the blend gas that will be out of this pipe. So it's, of course, we would need to trace, meaning that trace hydrogen that will be injected in the pipelines. But then what will be the use at the end? Will it be the blending gas? Will it be separated again to use hydrogen on one hand and natural gas on the other hand? It's really not yet at all defined.
My job is to give you information about what's happening in the supply chain. And if there is blending of two sources of hydrogen, I can do more than saying to you that there is a blend. If you want to distinguish the two sources of hydrogen, you have to have two pipes, actually. Or you can also use the guarantee of origin. You buy the guarantee, and then you're sure that you've paid for the low-carbon hydrogen.
Thank you, sir. J.J. Van Egg from magazine Destination Climat. This was my first question because we all have the problem. On the electric line, we have never seen green electron as well as we have never seen green molecule of hydrogen. One of the remaining concern is that somewhere blockchain has a very bad, let's say, reputation because it's very high carbon intensive. What I understood is that Crystal Clear is using a kind of algorithm with low carbon footprint, because going with blockchain is wonderful, okay? But if at the same time you are using so much computing capacity that you have a big carbon footprint, that's a challenge. But I understood you have a recipe to counterfeit this phenomenon. Can you explain?
Yes, please, of course. You can imagine you are not the first one asking this question. Actually, the first blockchain technology was used for the Bitcoin. It was using a lot of electricity. And usually in technology, when there is a problem, you put enough people around the table and they find a solution. And the latest evolution of this technology use different protocol that use very low energy to run the blockchain. And Chrystalchain, and not Crystal Clear, that's no problem. I will give you my business card so you have all the details. Is using these latest technologies.
Thank you, Sylvain. No more question? So it's clear for everybody that to enhance the bankability of your project, you're going to use certification and traceability with Laurence and Sylvain. Okay? Great. Thank you.